Okay, so on these it says solve the following inequalities, show all of your work. Some of these are more challenging than others. I'm going to go through just a few of them. So first let's remind ourselves, when you have something where it's not equal to 0 on the other side, you're not finding x-intercepts. So this is linear. This is inverse variation. So what you're doing is you're trying to find the intersection points of these two graphs. So even though this says less than, I don't care that it says less than when your final answer will actually be equal to, because you're finding a point. Okay, so to solve for x, anytime you have something in your denominator, you want to multiply by it to get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. Notice how I have to put parentheses around this side. So I'm going to take this x and distribute it. So you're going to have x squared minus 2x. I'm just going to change it to an equal sign now. These two things will cross out, equals 3. Okay, I have quadratic, so that means I need to set this side equal to 0. So I'm going to have x squared minus 2x, subtract 3 from both sides. You need a factor, so we're going to have x minus 3, x plus 1 equals 0. Don't forget, it's just two numbers that multiply to -3 and add to -2. Set each of these equal to 0, so I get x equals 3 and x equals -1. Okay, let's try one with a square root. So let's try number 6. So to get rid of a square root, you square both sides. Again, notice I put this side in parentheses because you're squaring the entire side. So this side turns into x. Just change it to an equal sign. This will turn into x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. We have x equals distributes. We have 4x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 1. So we have a quadratic again, so that means we need to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I'm going to have 0 equals 4x squared. -2 and -2 is -4. Subtract one more x, that gives you -5 plus 1. All right, since this is not a 1, you need to use the box method to solve. So 4x squared goes here, your 1 goes here. I need to think of two numbers that multiply to 4 times 1. So multiply to 4 and add to the middle number, which is -5. So that would be -4x and -1x. So if you multiply those, you get +4. If you add them, you get -5. And then you take out your greatest common factor. So we have -1, we have 4x, we've got x, and then -1. So we have 0 equals x minus 1 and 4x minus 1. So now we set each of these equal to 0, so we'll have x equals 1. Here, I'll need to add 1 to both sides and then divide by 4. So you'll get x equals 1/4. So as much as you're not going to want to, you really do need to check your solutions to make sure they actually work, because sometimes, like in problem number 1, they're both not going to work. So just to show you that, if I plug a 1 in here, let's see, so we have square root of 1 equals 2 times 1 minus 1. Square root of 1 is 1, equals 2 times 1 is 2, minus 1, so you have 1 equals 1. Okay, so that one works. Let's try 1/4. I'll put it up here. So square root of 1/4 equals 2 times 1/4 minus 1. Okay, so to take the square root of a fraction, you just take the square root of the top and the bottom. So this turns into square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 4 is half, equals 2/4 minus 1. So this is already 1/2 equals 1/2 minus 1. So this is going to be a positive half. This is going to be a negative half. So this does not work. So this answer is not a solution. Your only solution is x equals 1. Let's see. We can do an absolute value. So when you're solving an absolute value, remember, if I were to cover up whatever's in this absolute value, it can equal 3 or it can equal -3. So you have 2x plus 5 equals 3, and 2x plus 5 equals -3. So to solve for x, you subtract 5 from both sides. We get 2x equals -2. Divide by 2, you get x equals -1. And then here you do the same thing. Subtract 5, so you have 2x equals -8. Divide by 2, you get x equals -4. And then same here, you need to check your solution. So if I take a -1 and plug it in here, -2 plus 5 gives you 3. So that's true. And then we have -4. So -8 plus 5 gives you -3. And the absolute value of -3 is 3. So these two both work. Okay, so let's go and look at, actually, to check your rough sketches, you can just plug these into Desmos or to your graphing calculator. And then let's just do one of these quick. Okay, so there are 4 different things that you need to do for these problems. So it says solve the following. So that would be your algebraic work. So this is solve. Show your algebraic, oh, okay, solve, same thing. Show your algebraic work, sketch the graph. So we're going to sketch a graph and then give the solution on the graph of, give the solution, so that would go here, and then graph the solution on your number line, which goes here. Okay, so I always like to solve first. So we're going to have x squared minus 6x plus 8. Remember, we were just finding the intersection points, so we can set it equal to 0 for now. So I need two numbers that multiply to 8 and add to -6. So that's x minus 4 and x minus 2. So that would be x equals 4 and x equals 2. So I'm going to leave my solution set there for now. Now I'm going to go and do my rough sketch. So remember, for your rough sketch, you need to tell me your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is 8. You need to tell me your line of symmetry. So opposite of b, so 6 over 2 times a. So that's 2 times 1, which is 2. So that's 3. So line of symmetry is at 3, and then you need to tell me if it has a max or a min. Since this is positive, this graph will look like this, which means it has a minimum. So your minimum just has to be below your y-intercept. So I'm just going to make it down here. Make sure it is a parabola since it's a quadratic. And then, oops, sorry. Then remember, this is a horizontal line. So we're going to have a horizontal line at 0. And these two things are my intersection points. So this would be at 4, and this would be at 2. So now it wants to know, when is this parabola greater than 0? So the parabola is greater than this line here and here. And then are you going to have open or closed circles? No less or no equal sign, so you're going to have open. So on my number line, I just need the numbers 2 and 4 with open circles. So here's 2, here's 4, and then these are both shaded outward, so you follow that. And now we need to write an inequality for this. So we have x is less than 2 or x is greater than 4. And then you'll do the same thing for the two graphs below.